Old and Crackadated here, and I found something. I've been trying to figure out how to do a light, and I found the perfect light at the Goodwill store for $6. And it's basically a boom light, and you can adjust it up and down. And it's articulated here. Flip it back and forth. I kept trying to figure out what I was going to do for a light, and I didn't have any way to get light where I needed it. And this has got a brand new LED, one of those clear LEDs with the circle, twin circle elements in it, and for $6. I think that bulb cost something like $8, just the bulb itself. I don't know that it had ever been plugged in because the cord was still completely coiled up. There's no dirt, no nothing on it. So I think the thing was brand new. It just got a dent, a slight dent in the hood over the light, and I think that was the only fault in it. But I'm glad to get it. And I've been having fun with this . Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this, and this problem I have with my muscles over the past few days, it really got bad, and last night I was having trouble even picking things up again. It gets stiff in the muscles here, and the hands. I was trying to put together a little cart. I got one of those tool carts like for a shop, and I thought, okay, that'll be something I can put pedals, pedal boards, the little amps, the small head amps, the little orange cab that I can hook up to those amps and have them all on that one cart. And I bought another one of those magnetic plug-ins that I can plug all my amps in and then run a cord over to one of my other plugs, just plug them in, be able to operate my amps and things right there on that cart. It's got wheels, and I'm thinking about shuffling a few things to where I get these camera tripods back out of the way and I can have that thing sitting here in the floor. I can eliminate a lot of stuff that's on that table, which means I can bring other amps to put on it, and I'll have a place to store my pedal boards. That'd be an ideal spot for my pedal boards. Keep it all organized in one spot where I can reach and grab. It's like this right here. It's convenient where I've got it. I also need to do that thing with the other board above my amps. And of course I can access under my desk over there the back of my amps to be able to plug and unplug things. It's easy when I move the boxes I've got, empty boxes I've got under there, and put them in storage in the hallway. Then I'll be able to access all my amps over there on the back side. Of course, the ones I've got here, it's got front controls, and I can access the back of them. I'm going to mount a small mirror on the back wall back there, so that when I go to plug something in, I just look in the mirror and guide right to the hole and plug with whatever I'm plugging into it. And I may do the same thing on these where I don't even have to go under the desk. And this big monster here, I may put under that desk right there. It'll fit. I measured, it'll fit. And that way it won't be in my way. But I've got my mic that I can put on it. I can put on these different amps anywhere I'm at. It sure is hard organizing the studio. I remember Muscle Shoals Sound, when they started, they had such a crude operation, but they used what equipment they could get hold of and constantly upgrading stuff. But I can remember patch bay cords being run so bad, I'd go over there to help them out a lot of times. I'd help my brother string cables and stuff, and whoever was operating the control board, if they needed a patch cable unplugged and plugged in another spot, because they'd be sitting there at the console and there's no way you could get up out of the chair. You had to slide down under the console and crawl out on the floor to get through the cables. I mean, they would be strung just spaghetti everywhere. And this is the old days when you had to do that. Now you've got wireless stuff that you can plug up, which has been a great addition. But I've got a mess right now. I've been pulling cables every which way and slowly getting them sorted out. And I want to get enough cables to where all of my amps have got a cable plugged in, and I'll put color-coded tape on them that this is what plugs to a guitar, or this is what plugs to an amp. That color goes into whatever amp I'm operating. Or if it goes to a guitar or other instrument, it'll be a color-coded tape on it. You put 1 stripe, 2 stripe, 3 stripes, 4 stripes, so on for whatever you've got. Then you have a control list, everything listed, all the numbers and the cables. So when you look at something, well, I need 04 or red 4. I need orange 4. And that way things get organized where you have to have a control chart in a studio. Otherwise, you can't remember where everything's plugged up. But with one of those legal tablets, just everything listed on it, best way to do it. And of course, wall charts help too, where you've got quick reference that it's written big enough you can read it. And I hadn't been to that stage until now, and now I'm getting ready to start my charts to where everything's going to be numbered, and all my cables have rings. One end will have the code for what it is, plus the code for what I use it for, which will be a certain amp. It's going to be the amp that's coded to that number of stripes and color. Sort of like doing the old transistors and resistors and capacitors, stuff like that. Everything had a colored ring around it so you knew what went where. And you just use those codes, go be your code book, easy to trace. Well, old and crackadated, and I'm having a lot of fun with this Black Star amp, and I hadn't done anything with my RC600 yet, but today I'm probably going to plug it up and do a little work with it. I've still got to finish organizing right here. Yeah, when I take this speaker and put it under there, that's going to clear this space out. Things are slowly organizing, and I couldn't even get into the dormer over there on that side 2 days ago, and now I've got my guitar rack full of guitars. I can go to the dormer. I watered my plants over there just in time. I've got some, I don't know what kind of plants you call them. I can't remember the name of them. Like a corn plant or something. It's got big green leaves on it. But anyway, I got over there to water them before they completely dried up. And I've got 2 of those Adirondack rockers like I've got on the front porch over there, still in the box, hadn't been put together. I've got to pass them out the window and go down the ladder with them and put them together on the front porch. Either that or sit on the roof and put them together and then lower them down with a rope. Which it might be easier because of the dogs. They want to help me do everything I do outside. Well, old and crackadated, I'm having a lot of fun with my studio, but I am so frustrated because that last video I did, the playing was terrible. And I had some brain issues and also the muscle issues, which that's left over from that poisoning. It affected my muscles so bad. And everything gets out of whack. I don't know if it's affecting the liver, the kidneys, the whole thing, my thyroid, all the brain parts. But I'm not giving up. I know it's frustrating. The other night when I put that video up, I saw just how bad my guitar playing was, and it's heartbreaking. To think about how good I played, and just when I was young, I could pick up any instrument and be playing in just a few minutes. I mean, piano. I had access to pianos in a lot of places I went. Never had one at home. I wish I had. But everywhere I went with a piano, if there was drums there, friends that had drums at their house, I would play their drums. I got pretty good at drums. There was a tune that his name, Gene Krupa did on drums called White Heat. It was similar to all that other one that, but it was sort of like a Hawaiian and African drum thing put together. But I never heard anybody else play that. I think it was one that Gene Krupa came up with, that wrote it. But White Heat, I'd listen to that, and neighbor had drums set up on his front porch, and I'd go down there and I could do that beat just like Gene Krupa did, and it was a hard driving thing. But I've tried to do it on the drums, but I can't make my arms and my hands work fast enough to get that going. Oh shucks, I was trying to remember the name of that thing that I'm telling you, my mind is a little bit slow. I can't even remember my favorite drummer of all times. Can't even remember his name right now. It'll come to me later. But anyway, he had a drum solo he did that can't remember that. It was probably the most famous one that he had, and I believe that was a solo he did when he had a heart attack while playing, which was amazing. Have a heart attack while you're playing a drum solo and still finish it. Oh, and then decide to go backstage and tell somebody, hey, think I need a doctor. That's a typical guy. I only need a doctor if I'm dead. Oh, old and crackadated. I'm having a good time, even though I'm suffering with this. Oh, my arms are so tight. But my hands have loosened up a little bit. I was able to. Yeah, I hooked up microphone to both sides of that Tascam deal that fits under the camera, and I can't get any volume for the microphone on this side. It was really weak. So I don't know what the problem is yet, and my eyesight's not really good enough to see those little bitty icons on that screen. I need a screen about this big for that Tascam unit. And what I've got to do is get all my equipment hooked up for my monitor screen here. The smart TV, I can use it as my monitor and have, I think, like 4 picture-in-pictures to where I can have multi-screens set up to monitor different things. Well, old and crackadated. I may put this up as a solo video, just sort of explaining what struggles I'm having right now, and I'm doing as good as I can do. If I could just overcome the camera problems. That Canon camera has started giving problems, cutting off. I started filming a video the other night. It ran for like 5 seconds and cut off. I heard it click. I'm hoping it's going now. Old and crackadated. If it can, it will, and yeah, it has several times already. Oh, faint and fall out, it's still recording.